Okay, so I'm going to repeat that because whenever I do these and people are watching the video, they don't hear the questions. They'll call, they'll threaten, they'll, they'll call, they'll say, we're going to book, and then they never call back. You know, the simple trick to that is give them a deadline. Do you want to know a simple trick for getting people to book? Call them back up and say, I just had somebody else ask for your date. So I need to know whether or not you're going to do it. Bluff. How many times my fingers have been crossed? I'm like, oh my gosh, please say yes, please say yes, please say yes. And then 9 times out of 10, they'll book. And if they don't, they weren't going to. Don't be afraid to walk away from bad clients, guys. Bad clients means a lot of problems. If you don't walk away from your bad clients, shame on you. I tell people I don't do bridezillas. Why? I hate them. I've told countless brides on the day of the wedding, I'll tell them before the wedding, I say, honey, you can go bridezilla on everyone else. I don't care, that's fine, but don't try it on me. It won't work. I'll just stop shooting. I'm not getting an argument with you. It's not reality TV. I'll just stop shooting.
Can you stop shooting? What about the contract?
My contracts stipulate they have to behave in a friendly manner with me at all times. That's no joke. And I've used it at a wedding twice. I had a bride get so sloshed. This is in Port St. Lucie, Florida. She got so wasted and hammered that she was cursing at me during the first dance. You effing photographer, take my effing picture. So I just put my camera down. Comes back. And it took about 20 minutes, and they actually came to me. The maid of honor came to me and said, will you please start shooting? I said, once she apologizes, sure. Oh my gosh, that's so arrogant. Why? I want to be treated with respect. You can't go onto an airline and start cussing people out. Think about it. Think about how we allow ourselves to be treated. And then you complain? Just respect yourself. Right? You go onto an airline, you go into a Denny's, you go into anywhere. If you tell the server, the flight attendant, anybody, hey, F you, they're going to say, get out. Get out. Well, I do the same thing with my clients. Now, I've had hundreds of clients. It's only happened a few times, to be honest. But when they've done that, I'm like, no, I'm not going to work like that. I'm not a slave. I'm not going to have you guys treat me like trash. So don't talk to me like that. But when they let it go, I let it go too. The grudge is over. On the wedding day, you mean?
Yeah.
So he said, so if you're shooting a wedding and you've satisfied the bride and groom, what do you do to exceed their expectation? This is a great question. Something I teach my photographers is to not be heroes. It's an important lesson I'm about to educate some of you on. Some of you, I'm sure, already know this. But if you're what we do as photographers is we'll look at a shot at some well-known photographer, right? We'll see a shot that they did and it's on their website. Then what we'll do is we'll say we're going to mimic it, and we want to, which is fine. You know, it's good to learn. And we'll say we want to go take a similar shot. So we'll go to take that similar shot, and then we'll try the artistic shot. And I did this, so I'm talking to myself here. A lot of times when I'm making jokes and stuff on my videos, I'm really making fun of my former self, just so you guys know. I'm not making fun of other photographers. I'm making fun of who I used to be. And they'll go and okay, so here I am, right? The bride and groom are having the ring exchange. What am I doing? I'm on the ground. I'm using 1.4 and I'm getting that rose petal that's on the middle aisle on the grass, and I'm getting that one rose petal in focus, and then they're out of focus. And I'm thinking this is the most amazing shot, like Jerry Guiones. And I'm taking all these great shots, right? And I love Jerry. That's not a slam on Jerry. And I love his work. And I'm looking at this stuff. And then, meanwhile, they've exchanged rings. All my shots are out of focus. And then I'm like, oh, well, look at how artistic it is. Okay, that's really cool, Jason. But do you have a shot of me, like, putting the ring on his finger? Well, yeah, here it is. No. Do you have a shot of me putting the ring on his finger? It took me about 2 weddings before I realized I was really, really angering my wedding clients when I did that. I had a photographer who worked for me who had to get a shot of a bride getting out of, we were shooting a wedding at a winery, and it was Aston Martin. We all want that shot we see on every bridal magazine, big fancy car, bride getting out. We want a shot to put up on our portfolio. So he had to get the shot, and I said, dude, you can only get it if you promise to get the groom's reaction when the bride gets out, because that's what we're getting paid to shoot. Oh, I'll get it, I promise. And he didn't. I have a picture of him running literally back to get in position to get a shot of the groom when the bride's already walking down the aisle. So that's a flip answer to your question. Don't be a hero. In other words, get what you need to get before you get to those hero shots. And then when you get to the artistic shots, just have fun. I think that's what you'll see me do in some of my videos when I'll go and I'll start to do like the really crazy like detail shots with the wedding rings. When you guys watch me spending time to do that at a wedding, that's like when they're already drunk. The makeup's off all of the bride's face. She doesn't want any pictures anyways. And so then I'm just going and getting shots at that point. Make sense? Does that help? So I would just make sure to hit that checklist before you do any of those things. That's one reason I do my real wedding workshops and take you guys to a wedding with me, is so you can see how I do that. So make sure to get those first, because I'll tell you this, if you miss those, they're not going to care how artistic your shots are. That is 100% true. So if you get those fundamental shots first, those artistic ones are just icing on the cake. Those artistic shots are meaningless if you don't get the fundamentals. What else, guys? What else do you guys struggle with? Yep. So the question is, if, in regards to keeping up with technology, if you have a 1 or 2 or 3 year old camera, how do you know when that moment is? I think you have to look at when the technology changes. I think we have to stop looking at it as because see, again, Nikon and Canon got us used to the 3-year cycle. And now we have to completely change the way we think. I mean, if you think about what Sony does in the release cycle, it's actually very similar to what phone companies do now. How often do phone companies come out with a new phone? Every year. That's where I'm saying things are changing, right? And again, I think that's awesome, because I think it's going to push Nikon and Canon to do the same. Again, not a rah-rah Sony. This is something that benefits all of us. So to answer your question, how do we know when to change? Here's the thing, guys. If people, something I do at my workshops, and this is very simple, but it's a very profound practice for you guys to do. Go home tonight, take a picture with your camera, and then take a picture with your cell phone. If what you produce in your camera, and I want you to really challenge yourself, try to get a great shot with your phone. If you can get a shot that's 90% of the way there to your camera, you need to change your camera. That's your barometer. Make sense? Because the cameras, the phones these days, man, they can crank out some ridiculous shots. So who does that put out of business? You guys. It's not a ridiculous statement. And if you think it's ridiculous, those watching at home I'm telling you, it's ridiculous if you don't think that this technology is going to impact you. You know, I remember we bought the intervalometers, and then we would buy the machine that would automatically turn things so you could take time lapse and all sorts of stuff. Now there's just apps inside of our cameras that can do that. So it went from where we would buy something that would cost us $1,000, and now we can get a $15 app. So you guys need to constantly be looking at that. What else, guys? Yep. On a deeper level, what turned me over to Sony? Yeah, I think to be on, and you guys, I want you to try to think of the hardest, most question that would make me sweat up here. I want to hear them. Trust me. Throw me the nastiest curveballs. I want to hear them. But what made me switch to Sony? I saw it was the future. You got no trends. You got to know where the industry is moving. And I saw, well, geez, if I can get shots a lot easier, and I can appeal to my client base. That's another thing you guys have to keep in mind, right? I can talk to my millennials. I know it's like a second language for many of us, okay? But I can talk to millennials and talk in their language. Transferring photos, doing panoramics, doing all these things. I know, believe me, I did the same thing. I would take my Nikon D800 out and I would do focus stacking, or I would do panoramics. I'd stitch them all together in Photoshop, and I would be proud of myself because it took so long, and I worked so hard to get it. And then you turn around, and now the cameras just do it automatically. So the question is, if I outsource my editing? No, I do not. You guys still here? Hello? Talking to you. Hey guys, if you want to learn online with me, go to patreon.com/JasonLanierPhotography, and you will be able to continue this craziness online from anywhere on planet Earth with me. If you want to join me live, go to jasonlanier.com/workshops, and you'll get to see me in my full glory live and in person, guys. I think there's a smudge on there. Is that it? Yeah, I got it. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.